"Sit down, you filthy old monkey." The words exploded across that courtroom like a shotgun blast. Travis Cole standing there, sneering, as he slapped an elderly black woman, right in her wheelchair, right in front of God and everybody. I mean, you could practically hear a pin drop after that. The whole room froze, air so thick you could chew it, nobody quite believing what they'd just seen. That wasn't just a slap to her face. That was a slap to the whole idea of justice, right there where it was supposed to live. And you want to know what happened next? That's when Naomi Johnson stood up, cold as steel, pulled out a badge that caught the overhead light, and just let it hang there, daring anyone to blink. And for a heartbeat, even Travis Cole looked like he'd swallowed a stone. From that moment on, the place went from tense to absolute chaos. Phones up, people gasping, whispers like wildfire, and a story that had been festering in the dark finally blew up into the light. You ever see a room full of grown folks look scared and ashamed at the same time? That's how it was that morning. Of benches crammed, old-timers and kids, families squeezed in to see what was supposed to be a nothing little hearing. Just an old lady, Mildred Johnson, 79, hunched over in her wheelchair, frail hands shaking as she gripped those armrests like they were life rafts. Her crime? Selling a few wildflowers by the roadside, just trying to scrape together enough for her pills. But the charge sounded so silly, so mean, folks were embarrassed just hearing it out loud. Then Cole comes busting in like he owns the place, big, broad, 40-something, his face twisted up with that smirk cops get when they know nobody's going to check them. He stalks right up to Mildred, leans over till she can smell the stale cigarettes in his breath, and says, "Why are you even alive, wasting society's oxygen?" And you could feel it, everybody in that room wanted to say something, do something, but nobody moved. A little boy squeezed his mama's dress, his eyes filling up. An old man clenched his fists, then relaxed, because he knew how fast that could get you tossed in jail or worse. Cole stomped on Mildred's cane, just crushed it under his boot, twisted the wood till it snapped, then kicked it across the floor like garbage. You ever see a woman reach out for help and come up empty, right there in front of the world? That was Mildred, her hand left hanging in the air. I swear, the crack of that cane still echoes. A young woman behind me put her hand over her mouth, just fighting tears. Nobody said a word, but everyone was burning inside. Mildred never cussed him, never even begged, just looked up with these eyes, tired but defiant, like she'd already lived through too much to let this creep define her. You could feel the air getting heavier, like something was about to break. A few folks started recording, hands shaking, because if they let this go unseen, justice would stay dead forever. And then Cole did a slap. It landed so hard, you could almost hear the collective intake of breath from the gallery. Mildred's head snapped sideways, her chair rattling, her skin burning red from the print of his hand. She gripped the armrest, held it till there didn't make sound. The silence that followed was more violent than any shouting could have been. Phones went up recording, witnessing, storing away the truth for anyone who dared try to deny it. A kid broke the silence. "Stop hitting her." He cried, and his mom tried to hush him, but it was too late. That voice, tiny and honest, went straight to the heart. Cole whipped around, ready to snarl, but for a flicker he looked nervous. He tried to play it off, acting like he was untouchable, daring anyone to do a thing. But the spell was broken. People started muttering, phones filming steady. You could almost taste the outrage coming off the walls. Marcus Hayes, the public defender, scrappy, thin, tired-looking but fierce, stood up, called Cole outright to his face. That's when Cole barked out a slur, as loud as he could, trying to drown everyone out. "Sit down, you black bastard." You could feel the room flinch, but Marcus didn't move, just stared him down. People started shouting enough. This is a courtroom, but Judge Keaton just tapped his gavel, looking everywhere but at the mess unfolding right under his nose. Cole slammed his hand on the bench, screamed, "I'm a law here." And in that moment, he believed it. He looked around, chest out, chin up like nothing could touch him. But in the corner, a stranger in a ball cap streamed it all. The viewer count ticking up by the second, comments rolling in. Is this America? Who's going to stop him? The storm was brewing, even if Cole didn't see it yet. And then Naomi Johnson walked in. The air changed when she appeared 36, sharp eyes, walked with this controlled power, like she was born for moments exactly like this. She strode right up to the center of the room. "That's enough. You just slapped my mother." The words hit like a punch, and the courtroom burst, phones flashing, people craning for a view, and Cole trying to laugh it off, tossing another racial insult like it would shut her up. But Naomi didn't blink. Cole got in her face, hissed, "You know where you are? This is my courtroom. I am justice." Naomi lifted her chin. Justice doesn't belong to a man who hits an old woman. Simple, quiet, absolute. Cameras snapped. The gallery buzzed. Cole tried to push her, his anger rising. But outside, the press had started to pour in, cameras, mics, lights flooding the room, turning a local injustice into a national reckoning. And now, there was no escape for Cole. The lights caught every bead of sweat on his face. He tried to bark, tried to order silence. But Naomi reached in her coat, flashed a badge, let it gleam, and for a second, even Cole's sneer faltered. People whispered, "What was that?" Reporters shoved forward, trying to catch every angle. Mildred's eyes locked on her daughter, afraid but proud, as if everything she'd suffered was finally worth it. Cole tried again to scream his authority, his voice cracking as Naomi's badge shone. Then she finally said it, voice ringing out over the chaos. "You just slapped the mother of CIA agent." You could have heard a pin drop. Cole stumbled back, jaw hanging, the world closing in as people in the gallery rose up, chanting, "Arrest him! Justice! Justice!" Reporters surged, live streams hit millions, and outside, a crowd was gathering, voices swelling, "Justice for Mildred." Cole looked around, wild-eyed, sweat rolling down, every illusion of control stripped away by a single sentence. Naomi never raised her voice. She didn't have to. She let the truth hang there, let the world bear witness. And now, the story wasn't just about Cole's cruelty, it was about the whole rotten system that let men like him thrive. Judge Keaton, the old man who'd kept silent all these years, had emails leaked proof he'd covered for Cole, closed files, protected him from scrutiny. Suddenly the crowd was chanting against the judge, too complicit, criminal, a disgrace. The pressure kept building. Mildred, hands shaking, stood up with help, her voice breaking but clear. "All my life, I've been humiliated, beaten, called trash. Today I see hope. Today I see my daughter stand tall. I know my pain was not wasted." The courtroom erupted applause, cheers, tears. And Cole, the bully, tried to run, tried to scream, "I am the law," but nobody was buying it. The agents blocked his way, guns drawn. For the first time, his tears showed real, desperate, the armor gone. Naomi stood steady, her eyes cold and sure. Mildred wept, not for her own pain now, but for the victory, the release, the proof that truth can win even if it takes a whole lifetime. A juror stood up. "We are with you, Mrs. Johnson." The gallery joined in, a thunderous chorus of support. Naomi pulled out files, proof of Cole's abuse, dirty deals, kickbacks, every rotten piece laid bare for the world. The crowd, inside and outside, became Oni's single voice demanding justice, unstoppable. And as Cole stood there, shaking, stripped of every lie, the chant rose, echoing down the courthouse steps, across the city, through every TV, every phone. Justice for Mildred. Justice for all. Maybe this isn't the end of the fight, maybe it's just the spark. Because you gotta ask, after all this, what does justice really look like to you? Is it a gavel, a verdict, or a crowd that finally refuses to stay silent? Drop a commento. You think real justice ever happens? Or is it just one small victory in a fight that never ends?